Have you ever paused to ask yourself a simple yet profound question? Who is reborn after death? Most of us immediately answer, the soul. But what if that answer is incomplete? For thousands of years, humanity has searched for the mystery of reincarnation. Nearly every spiritual tradition has tried to explain what happens after death. Yet the ancient sages of India asked a far deeper question. Instead of debating whether reincarnation exists, they asked, who or what actually returns? The answer may completely change the way you see life. The Upanishad describe the true self as eternal, never born and never destroyed. The Bhagavad Gita echoes the same truth, saying that while bodies come and go, the deepest essence of our being remains untouched. If that is true, then something eternal cannot be reborn. It never entered the cycle in the first place. So what continues after death? Imagine carrying a backpack throughout your life. Every experience places something inside it: a fear, a desire, a memory, a habit, an attachment. At first, the load is light, but as the years pass, it becomes heavier, shaping the way you walk, the choices you make, and even how you see the world. Ancient yogic wisdom says our minds work in exactly the same way. Every thought leaves an impression. Every action strengthens a pattern. Every strong desire creates momentum. These subtle impressions are known as samskaras, while the desires that arise from them are called vasanas. Together, they quietly shape our personality, often without our awareness. This explains why two people can face the same situation yet react completely differently. Their responses are not created in that moment alone. They are influenced by countless impressions accumulated over time. This brings us to one of the most misunderstood ideas in spirituality. Neither the physical body nor the eternal self reincarnates. The body is made from the earth and eventually returns to it. The true self remains beyond birth and death. What continues is what the yogic tradition calls the sukshma sharir, or the subtle body. It is this subtle vehicle that carries the mind, memories, karmic tendencies, and unresolved desires from one life to another. In other words, rebirth is not the journey of the eternal self. It is the continuation of unfinished patterns. Think of an echo in a valley. The original voice has already fallen silent, yet the sound continues because its momentum has not completely faded. In much the same way, the impressions created by our thoughts, actions, and desires continue long after the physical body has disappeared. This is why ancient wisdom views reincarnation not as a reward or a punishment, but as the natural continuation of cause and effect. The body may perish. The self remains unchanged, but the subtle body carries the unfinished story forward. That raises another question. What exactly is this subtle body made of? The yogic sages answered that by describing the human being in a way that is far more profound than most of us have ever imagined. A map of consciousness known as the Panch Kosha, the 5 sheaths of existence. And hidden within those 5 layers lies the real secret of reincarnation. To understand reincarnation, we must first understand what a human being truly is. According to the ancient yogic tradition, we are not just a physical body. We exist through 5 layers of experience, known as the Panch Kosha, the 5 sheaths that surround our true nature. The first is the Annamaya Kosha, the physical body. It is built from food, water, and the 5 elements of nature. Throughout life, it grows, changes, ages, and eventually returns to the earth. This body is temporary, and it does not reincarnate. The second is the Pranamaya Kosha, the vital energy sheath. It is the life force that powers every heartbeat, every breath, and every movement. At death, This life energy gradually dissolves back into the universal flow, just as a wave settles back into the ocean. The third is the Manomaya Kosh, the mental sheath. Here reside our thoughts, emotions, fears, desires, memories, and the subtle impressions known as samskar. These impressions influence how we think, react, and experience the world. The fourth is the Vijnanmaya Kosh, the sheath of wisdom and discernment. It is the inner intelligence that allows us to step back and observe the mind instead of being controlled by it. As this awareness develops through self-inquiry and meditation, we begin to recognize that our thoughts are experiences, not our true identity. The fifth and innermost layer is the Anandamaya Kosh, the bliss sheath. It is the closest veil to our true self, a state of profound peace that remains untouched by fear, desire, and the cycle of birth and death. This is where an important misunderstanding is cleared. Neither the Annamaya Kosh nor the Anandamaya Kosh reincarnates. One returns to the earth, the other remains forever untouched. What continues is the Sukshma Sharir, the subtle body, which carries the mental impressions, desires, and karmic tendencies associated primarily with the subtler layers of our being. Think of it like a seed. From the outside, a seed appears small and ordinary, yet hidden within it is the complete blueprint of a future tree. In the same way, the subtle body carries the blueprint of our unresolved tendencies. When conditions become suitable, those tendencies seek expression once again. This is what the yogic tradition calls karma. Karma is not simply reward or punishment. It is the momentum created by every thought, intention, and action. Some impressions fade quickly. Others remain dormant, waiting for the right circumstances to unfold. Imagine someone who spends an entire lifetime seeking power and recognition. Even at the end of life, they remain deeply attached to status and approval. According to yogic philosophy, it is not the person who returns. It is the unresolved longing itself. That powerful tendency continues through the subtle body, searching for another opportunity to express itself. Seen in this light, reincarnation is not the return of an individual personality. It is the continuation of unfinished conditioning. But if desires and karma keep this journey alive, another question naturally arises. Can these patterns ever come to an end? The ancient sages answered with a confident yes, and the key to that freedom lies not in escaping death, but in understanding the mind while we are still alive. Part 3. Can the cycle of rebirth end? If the Sukshma Sharir, the subtle body, carries our unresolved impressions from one life to the next, then one final question remains. Can this journey ever come to an end? The sages answered with an unequivocal yes. But liberation is not achieved by dying. It is achieved by awakening. Every thought, emotion, and action either strengthens an old pattern or weakens it. The more we live unconsciously, the more deeply our desires and fears become rooted. But the moment we begin observing them with awareness, their grip starts to loosen. The ancient masters often asked a simple question: if you can observe your thoughts, are you really your thoughts? If you can witness fear, who is the one doing the witnessing? That silent witness has never been afraid. It has never been born, and it never dies. Imagine entering a destination into a GPS. The system doesn't decide where to go. It simply follows the destination that has already been programmed. The yogic tradition says our deepest desires work in the same way. Every attachment, every unresolved longing, every unfinished karmic tendency quietly programs the direction of future experience. Rebirth, therefore, is not random. It follows the strongest momentum within the Sukshma Sharir. Change the destination, and the journey changes. Remove the destination completely, and the journey comes to an end. This is why meditation, self-inquiry, and mindful living are so important. Their purpose is not to escape the world, but to understand the forces that unconsciously drive us. A simple practice can begin this transformation. Before going to sleep each night, spend a few quiet minutes reviewing your day. Ask yourself, what disturbed my peace today? What desire influenced my decisions? Which emotion kept repeating itself? Observe without judging. The goal is not to suppress your emotions, but to understand them. What is fully understood gradually loses its power to control you. As awareness grows, the subtle body becomes lighter. Old fears begin to dissolve. Attachments lose their intensity. The momentum of karma slowly weakens. Eventually, even the deepest illusion fades. The belief that we are separate from the whole. Imagine a wave rising from the ocean. For a brief moment it appears separate, with its own identity and form. But when it settles back into the sea, nothing has been lost. The wave was never separate from the ocean. It only appeared that way. The sages said our true nature is exactly like that. Liberation is not the destruction of consciousness. It is the end of the illusion of separateness. When nothing remains to be fulfilled, resisted, or possessed, the force that drives rebirth naturally comes to rest. Some traditions also speak of rare awakened beings who return, not because karma compels them, but out of compassion to guide others. Their birth is a choice, not a necessity. Perhaps the greatest mystery was never what happens after death. Perhaps the real mystery is why we spend so little time discovering who we truly are while we are alive. So the next time a powerful desire arises, pause before following it. Ask yourself, is this truly my deepest nature, or simply another pattern seeking to repeat itself? That single moment of awareness may be more transformative than years of blind habit. Because maybe reincarnation is not the endless journey of the true self. Maybe it is simply the repetition of what the mind has not yet understood. The body will return to the earth. The Sukshma Sharir will continue only as long as unresolved karma remains. But your deepest essence, the reality reflected through the Anandamaya Kosh and beyond all sheaths, has always been free. The journey of spirituality is not about waiting for another life. It is about awakening in this one. If this exploration has changed the way you think about life, death, and rebirth, join us on this journey. Together, we'll continue uncovering the timeless wisdom hidden within the world's great spiritual traditions. Wisdom that doesn't merely explain existence, but transforms the way we live it.